with the personality sun or the conscious core essence in 54. This is the Marian Maiden, ambition. We will get penetration, ambition, or cycles as the purpose. So when we see here in the 54 is the fuel for ambition. It's the fuel to rise up on the capitalistic side of the human design bodycraft. And it provides to us this ability to go from the very lowest rung on the ladder up to the highest rung on the ladder. So what you'll notice here is that the 54 is designed to be recognized. It's designed to be recognized. And that recognition that it is designed for, the 54 is looking for someone higher up in the hierarchy to notice them. And in getting noticed, they are going to get their opportunity to move up. So what they're looking towards is they're looking towards the 32. And the 32 is able to evaluate, give evaluation to the skills and the talent that a 54, this ambitious being, has. So when they get noticed, then there can be an investment into that being to move them up the ladder. So ambition can have a bad reputation as well because we give it this moralistic connotation. So ambition is something that everybody is supposed to have. Of course, that's what the moralistic expectation is. And if you're not ambitious, then you got a problem, you're lazy. And ambition isn't for everyone. It isn't in everybody's design. So this method of moving through the hierarchy is the way the Maya really does work. It looks like everybody has a fair chance, and yet that's not really the truth. Because not everybody wants to be the CEO. Not everybody wants to move up. Not everybody wants to have this rags to riches kind of story. So the whole theme is about getting recognized in the 54, and these are the most recognized people of all. And it can create problems because the 54, this penetration, they've been in their job for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they're elevated above somebody who's been there for years. Or simply because there is this connection between you and that next person in the hierarchy that recognizes you. That's really what it's about. So out of that recognition, out of that noticing, the 54 is recognized in the moment, and that it gives them that opportunity to move up the ranks. So what you're doing here is that you're penetrating into the other based off of your ambition, and then you will penetrate in and be noticed. Doesn't matter your type. There's this penetrating ability to begin things, to use your own intuition, to shock people with your talents and your skills, and all of a sudden you are elevated to the top, and it just happens. You're just naturally noticed. So what we're going to look at for wealth is we're going to look at the entire design. Because here, what is it that you're designed to be ambitious about? Now, of course, it is capitalism. It's on the material plane. So now how do we look at that, bring in everything out of the design, and move you into a place of wealth? Now, when we take a look at ambition and the juxtaposition, now all of a sudden we leave the 57 and the 51 behind, and now we have the 32 and the 42. So ambition, at its fixed aspect here, can have a massive fear of failure. So if I'm not recognized, I'm a failure. That's what can happen here. So not being recognized is a failure and is very and very, very important for them. So these beings are transformational agents. They help people come to this maturing aspect, this cyclical energy in their body. So they bring a lot of transformation. And that gate of completion out of the 42 once you get into the commitment, what's going to happen is these people are really going to stay there until it is finished. So the 32 holds the fear of failure, and it's all about duration and continuity, and it is very conservative. By recognizing the value of things, it keeps going. So these two together are really saying that you're going to commit yourself because it is so important to do so. So the question of the 54, when we have it in the sun, is which recognition you are going to commit yourself to. Because this cross is very fixed, this is really about you committing and standing in that commitment to see a cycle out. So what you'll notice is that you decide to study being an engineer. And then you can't get out of that for the rest of your life. You become inside that cycle. So that's why it's so important to enter into things correctly when you have this juxtaposition cross of ambition, so that those that need to see you, those that need to recognize you, will do that, and that your commitment to this is very clear. So on this cross, it's very powerful. And for them being recognized, moving up, transforming, only that is satisfying in the end. These people, because they have the entire channel of transformation, tend to be involved in the material plane. They can be very successful in it. And you'll recognize that they want to be recognized. And if they're not recognized correctly, there's this fear of failure, so they kind of get whiny about it. And then when we look over at the left angle cross of cycles, now we're moving to the 5 and the 6 being the version of this. So when we move through this whole theme, the need to be recognized, to be able to transform and to be able to move up. So there's simply the recognition that this is the way things work. Here in the left angle, getting involved and being recognized by people means entering into cycles and completing them as an act of transformation. So in this cross, what we've seen before, we've seen the definition where the continuous definition from the sacral to the spleen through the 54, from the sacral to the spleen through the 42, 53, and the 54, 32. So this really is like it's all connected here. And we've seen this before. So the cycles come from the channel that brings us those cycles, that maturation, that format energy for the abstract process. So what is different about these people is that they are not looking for the one recognition that they can hold on to for the rest of their lives. They are looking for a recognition that will allow them to enter into a cycle, to be transformed so they can finish the cycle and move on to the next thing. It is very important for these people because their greatest gift is once they are recognized, they will enter into something and be dedicated until it's finished. Whether that is a 10-minute or a 10-year process, doesn't matter. What is important for them is the cycle itself. These people are never going to have careers that stay consistent. So in the juxtaposition, we get very fixed. We enter into a cycle as an engineer, we enter into a cycle as a doctor, whatever it is, and we see that cycle out. Over here, what we do is these are the people that are bringing karma to others. So today they might study and be transformed by being an architect. Then that study or that cycle comes to a close and they add on more degrees and more degrees. So then all of a sudden, maybe they become a geologist. And then they become an architect, or they become a doctor, or whatever it is. And this can be one of the most powerful crosses, because it's rare to see two channels. Of course, we've seen this before, but it is rare to see two full channels inside a purpose. So what's so important is that they complete one cycle and move on to the next, and do this through, of course, a place of response. So these are the beings that really are the backbone of most businesses, with the 54 and the 32 present, because really what it is doing is it's understanding the value of the product, it's understanding the value of the service, and it can commit to whatever it is that needs to be brought forward to transform other people, to bring those practical solutions, to allow for people to come to a maturing aspect of who they are and their processes. So there's actually like lots of ability to create wealth when you have the 54 in your sun, because it is the beginning point for it all. So what we'll do is we will look at the entirety of your human design body graph so that you can pull out your purpose-driven wealth formula and move from there.